my slips, my falls, my trials and tribulations, my heart, my balls, my somebody stop me, somebody come and get me. Little did I know that the Lord was riding with me. The dark, the light, my heart, the fight, the wrong, the right is gone.
Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggett representing Team JVS. So I'm back again for another review. This is a movie review for the movie Frozen 2. Now, this is going to be a very fascinating review. Let's just go and break it down. So, from a synopsis standpoint, you have Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Sven, and they are going and leaving Arendelle and going to the forest to try to go and track down this mysterious voice that they think will be able to stop this catastrophe that's happening that may or may not be connected to Elsa. So off the gate, as far as the visuals for this, the visuals are amazing. Like, from the autumn leaves to the wind to the water, like I mean, the action, even like from the very first trailer, when you see Elsa like out there in the water and like trying to run to get across like an ocean, which we thought was an ocean, like I was hooked. I was like, this looks epic, this looks intense. And then the score is actually done very well, very intense, and at the same time atmospheric when it came to the emotional aesthetics towards the third and second act. Now, the music. I don't think the music in this one is as good as the first one. I don't. And I mean, normally I don't say that, but there was a lot of very interesting musical moments. I think Sven had a very interesting musical moment in the second act, and I thought it was funny, and I think it was well sung. But then there were like moments where Elsa has this really deep, song towards the third act, but it was nowhere near, it couldn't touch, like Let It Go. Even in my opinion, like Anna in the very first movie, like Do You Want to Build Me a Snowman, or like some of the other songs like were just so monumentally epic that they just struck gold, and that wasn't necessarily what this one was. This one didn't strike gold in terms of the songs. I think the volume of songs in this one is very well placed. Like, it was a lot more songs, but I don't think they had that atmospheric feel to them because they were just kind of all over. It was sprinkled all over the place. I think that the comedy in this one was actually pretty funny at times, but then there's times it just didn't land. So they added newcomers. They added Evan Rachel Wood, that's from Westworld, to this one in an interesting role. I don't want to spoil anything. Alfred Molina is playing a pivotal role in this one. Sterling K. Brown plays the role of Matthias, who he does a really good job with his voice acting work. I think Sterling K. Brown can do anything, to be quite honest with you. But Josh Gad, Kirsten Bell, Adina Menzel, and what's his name? Jonathan Groff plays the role of Kristoff. And it's how do I put this? I think the problem that I had with this one was that there was a lot of great ideas when it came to Elsa and Anna, and it's evident that their love for each other is the catalyst and the glue to this franchise, to this film, and they definitely have strong moments together. But the problem was that I was looking for Anna's character to progress a lot further, and they do give her a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, towards the third act they do some things with Kristen Bell's Anna that literally brought me to tears, like for real. Like, and they even gave like Josh Gad's Olaf some very emotional moments towards the third and second act as well. The problem was, I'll give you for Josh Gad, for instance, some of the comedy just didn't really land. And it wasn't that he wasn't funny. Like, he had some funny moments, absolutely. But it's like you compare apples to oranges when it comes to the first one and the second one. And it's weird because this one, Olaf was just like inherently smart. And it kind of like, I felt like I'm missing something there. In this one, Anna and Kristoff, is evident, they want to progress the relationship even deeper. Kristoff is really evident about what he really wants, and Anna just kind of in the back fold, like missing it all. And it's kind of like, you have Olaf that's very hyper intelligent. You have Anna who's like just trying to make sure her sister is okay and missing her own relationship. Kristoff, who seems like he's like pitted on having this prime directive for Anna, and then you have Elsa that's focused on just really trying to be herself and figure out what that actually really means outside of just her powers. Like, does she really actually fit? And I feel like through all these different characters, they just gloss it over, and it's kind of like this gets wrapped in a pretty bow, and that's never how something like that works. It's kind of like for Kristoff, like it was kind of like they stuck to it, and I was like, oh wow, where are they about to really go with this character? Like, I'm like, man, like what's really about to happen with this relationship? Like I really questioned that with Anna. Like I was kind of like, you know, when they started going into like their past, like who Elsa and Anna's like lineage and all this other kind of stuff, that things that we didn't know, I was kind of like, man, Anna's gonna have to go and take a different step here, and you know, it's gonna have to be a detracted from what she's normally used to being when it comes to with her sister, outside of loving her sister. With Elsa, I was like, there's more to what we thought. And they just don't really go there. They don't go that deep. They kind of keep it like at a prime directive so that the kids are going to love this. The kids are going to be all in for it. But it was kind of like nothing really ultimately happened that I couldn't predict, or nothing that happened in the gauze of this film that kind of like wowed me. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like the first movie, like, bro, I went back and rewatched the first movie. And like some people, when I came out of the theater, they were like, man, this one's a lot better than the first one. I was like, visually it's a lot better, and I think that structurally they know where they're gonna go. But like when I remember like looking at the first few minutes of the first one, when it was just Elsa and Anna like loving on each other, and then all of a sudden like Elsa is not even control power. She hits her sister. She thinks her sister's gonna legit die, and they have to go and wipe her memory. And from that point, she's left in complete emotional turmoil for the rest of her life, and she isolates her sister, and that pits her sister to go to this director that she never would have gone if they just would have stuck together. You know what I'm saying? Like that symmetry behind that. And then even like the end of the first one, like how, you know what I'm saying, like it wasn't that clear cut, like it was a sacrifice that was legit made, you know, kind of thing. And not to say that this doesn't have that, but I think that they could have taken it so much further. Like scenes like when Elsa is by herself, I think that they really could have pushed that even further. And I think they do take certain strides, I think, in the right direction, even with Anna and Elsa. And I'm curious to see where they're going to take their characters later on. But it's kind of like they kind of just tagged on Olaf. They kind of just tagged on Kristoff. They kind of just tagged on Sven. And then they have these other new characters that do play big significance, but there's nothing to really latch onto even the new characters or those other three main characters as well. It's just kind of like it's Anna and Elsa, the pit, but it's kind of like, where are we really going with this, and was it something that was more than what we were hoping for? And I don't think that was the case, unfortunately, with this one. So I think I would rest this at like a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a bad movie whatsoever. I think it's just predictable at times, not funny at times, but I think it's enough that, like, from a family standpoint, families are gonna love it, kids are gonna love it. Visually, it's amazing. The songs are not bad. They're just not on par with the first. Like the first one, for real, as a Pixar animated film, is near perfect. Like they hit lightning in the bottle, and it just wasn't that for this one, unfortunately. I feel like there's some other things that I'm missing I don't want to bring up because I'm scared that I'm gonna start touching on spoilers. But there's some lineage things that kind of happen that I feel like should have taken the story in a completely different direction. And I don't want to make a comparison to something else, but if you know, yeah, I can't even go there. I don't want to spoil anything. But let's just say I think that they could have really pushed it a little bit further, and I think that they kind of wrap things up. It's just like, okay, well, this happened, everything's fine. Like, no, like I'm more about ramifications. I'm more about like, okay, sacrifice with a guise of purpose, and sometimes things don't work out, you know, and that's okay because life has to progress. I think that's one of the things that was also missing about it, was the real theme behind this. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it something that was kind of recycled from the first one and they just kind of maneuver forward when it comes to Elsa? When it comes to Anna, like, where were they really trying to push her to be? And I mean, it is a good continuation of these characters. I just don't think it was as good as I think it really could have been. I think they could have really pushed the bar. And it's not to say this movie is bad at all. Definitely go and check it out for yourself. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell button. Make sure you leave a comment. I really want to know what you guys think. And yeah, 7.5 out of 10. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. You guys have a blessed one. Peace, guys.